Domination Nation, happy anniversary!
Woohoo! DomiNations anniversary.
This is awesome. Domination is the best game.
Happy birthday, Dominations. Longue vie à Domination.
I love it, developers. Keep up the good work.
We really pour our hearts and our souls into this game.
I'm blown away by the fan base.
We're delighted that so many players seem to think it's still fresh and exciting for them to play.
We tried to add a lot of interesting decisions that felt meaningful and reinforce the notion that you are an emperor.
There's a ton of things that people can do.
You can take your civilization through time.
One of my favorite moments when you beat somebody that's 5 or 6 times higher than your level.
Units are very fun to use.
Siempre hay una razón para seguir jugando y poder seguir evolucionando.
My favorite troops are elephant archers by far.
This game is lots of fun to turn you on to things you may not have thought much about as far as history is concerned.
Dominations is the most complete history game that you can get on your phone.
They give us a lot of interesting facts regarding how the weapons were used.
This game is great. I've never had so much fun learning about history.
I'm definitely looking forward to how we integrate our current times into our game.
To me, the most fun has been telling the rest of the story.
We've always said Domination is about going from the Stone Age to the Space Age.
That's not going to be the end. We're going to explore so much more beyond that.
I'm really excited to see what comes out of the team, and I'm excited to play it.
So here's to 3 more years, and cheers to Domination.
Thank you so much to every single person who was involved in making this amazing game.
Hey everybody, gonna do a quick audio check before we get started. Let us know in chat if we sound okay, and we'll go ahead and press on. So if we're too hot or too low, let us know.
Hi, howdy.
Hi, howdy.
This is the sound over here.
Hey Merida, how you doing? We didn't plan this red or blue situation, and we sat down and we're like, oh, we're team red and team blue. Sounds good, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is, of course, a very special stream. We're here live at Big Huge Games. We're going to be showing off the museum. We're going to be here for 2 hours talking about a whole lot of different stuff. Of course, we're going to be playing the game live, showing it off. We're also going to be showing off the museum and talking with the development team. We're going to have developers floating in and out. And, of course, one just floated in now. My name is Ash. I'm one of the community managers at Nexon, and, of course, I work on Dominations. If you see us on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or any of those places, those are the channels that I kind of lurk on all the time. And really quick 10-second background: before I worked in games, I was a teacher teaching world history, so it's sort of the perfect fit for me because this is all the stuff that I kind of know and love. And who are you, sir?
My name is Greg. I'm the Tin Soldier on the forums and on Discord and all sorts of other places. So we've probably had a chat. If not, I'd love to chat with you here and now or on any of our social channels that are listed on the screen.
So good segues, sir. We're getting good at this. So our social channels, we have a lot of them. I encourage you to kind of join up on all of them. We do different things on the majority of them. One of the things that I love about Dominations is really you guys. You guys are an incredible community. The game's been around for over 3 years now, and there's a lot of really great stuff going on, some of which we're going to talk about today. But here are our social channels. We have Play Dominations on Twitter, Play Dominations on Facebook. Instagram is Nexon Mobile, so we might get the Dominations Twitter up and running one of these days. But there is a player run Discord, which I think we have a link to coming up later on. It'll pop up in the chat for you guys. But I've been kind of lurking in there for a little while as well, and that's awesome. A lot of really great stuff going on, a lot of great community building stuff going on in the Discord. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about sort of the areas that you kind of frequent?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, this Discord in particular is for the Sandbox. It's a newly created. There we go. I said it right. Newly created channel. It's for some of the large loot competitions and for the pick a fight challenges. It's a place where players are going to meet up for these different community-run events. So you can either participate in the challenges or meet fellow players there. Of course, we've got the Dominations Prime Discord as well, and we're going to be talking about some of the stuff they're doing as well.
Yeah. So we have lots of social channels. I won't bombard you with them. They're, of course, available on the bottom here on Twitch, and you're going to see them pop up in Twitch chat as well. Encourage you guys to follow them, say hi. we really do read everything. So whatever comments or questions or concerns you have, we may not get a chance to reply, but we definitely do read them. And we cry. And no, I'm just kidding. We don't really cry. Sometimes we cry. But anyway, yes, we read them all. So we very much appreciate your feedback. And so I'm going to quickly go over sort of the agenda of what we're doing today, just so you guys know. We have been doing a lot of stuff with the community, asking a lot of questions on social media. So you guys have submitted your bases. We're going to look at some of the bases you guys submitted. We're going to attack some bases live and show off some of the units we've been asking about. So we had a question on social media a few weeks back. We were asking you guys which of these units you feel is the most deadly. So we took kind of a bit of a poll. We're going to show off some of those units in combat. And the second half of the show, which is right around, hour or two, so about a little longer than an hour, or a little less than an hour from now, we're going to show off the museum at length. We're going to have Debs come in and talk about the museum and really kind of get into the nitty gritty about, how the museum was designed, why it's so impactful, how it's going to affect the meta, and of course answer some of your questions live. So we're going to be doing a lot. It's going to be a very full show. We appreciate you guys stopping by. Of course, feel free to, say hi in the chat, ask anything in the chat. We're monitoring that as well. And we love you guys. So it's going to be lots of fun. So let's jump on over. We'll turn off our little social media links here. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do some attacks. So we get requested this a lot. Normally we do this at the end of the show. We kind of we attack various bases, but now we're going to do it at the top of the show because it's fun and action packed. So Tin, if you don't mind talking them through sort of your setup here and what you're going to be doing. So
sure. This is my current army. I've got some main battle tanks in order to take out their defenses. We've got some of the Green Jacket Riflemen in order to lay down some cover fire. The thing that we need to pick out now for the rest of our army are some of these troop tactics. And these were the ones that were featured most recently on Facebook and Twitter. You guys had the chance to vote on which you thought was the most deadly or what you thought was the best units and combinations. So did you have any preferences or any favorites for these lists?
I'm a big fan of Lady Death.
All right.
I love that unit. She was originally introduced for Women's Day, and I came and did a stream where she was featured. And I love the Outlaw Army. I'm a big fan of the Gunslingers.
Yeah, they're
really fun.
They're
we got to show off the War Mastodons too, because we didn't show them last time.
Yeah, we hinted at it. Some people guessed were they radioactive goats.
That was really fun. The April Fool's stuff. Tough Hunter says, Ash, your buddy has a great stash. Gotta grow something, man. Mr. Tough Hunter, I cannot grow a mustache like that. I actually tried desperately a couple years ago to grow something like that because I desperately wanted a really nice mustache. However, my body says that there are areas here that do not grow hair. So it was just like I grew a terrible looking like caterpillar type beast on my face. So I'm sure everyone's very interested in my inability to grow a mustache, but I figured I would bring it up. So if you have any questions about mustaches, please say them in the chat as well.
Yeah. Happy to answer any questions about life
mustaches.
in general. And howdy.
Welcome.
All right, so we from the prepare for battle screen, we just grabbed a couple of blessings, air superiority, armor, and weapon blessings. That way we can boost our troops a little. We'll end our peace treaty and we'll go and attack some other players.
I see a question about Maple Story 2. I am not at liberty to discuss Maple Story 2, but thank you for asking. You should be shown pics of the caterpillar stash. You know what I'll do before the stream is over? I will pull it up on my phone and I will hold it up to the camera so you guys can see the terrible caterpillar stash that no one should ever have to witness. All right, so what do we have here?
So we have here two things. Number one, we've got the we're going to start already. We're going to send some of our generals here to start working towards that town center. We're going to give them a metacart, and this APC will generate units as well, so that way we can get some additional suppressing fire. We also need to make sure that we take care of the secondary town center down here. Take out that tower. Land some other ground troops, and we will add Joan of Arc, which will lead the commanding army down there. We're gonna have to worry about that missile silo in a second. It's already opened up. So in the meantime, we can suppress it. Oh, it started to fire. So that's going to continue to fire until we can take it out. Start secondary here.
Game audio is too loud. Thank you. That's exactly what we need. Yeah, thank you. We'll turn that down for you guys. Let us know if that is better. Thanks. Nexon, please hire me.
All right, so let's start with some of these fun units. We want to do. Let's do the Outlaws first. We'll drop them. We got a number of gunslingers there in the corner, and behind them we're going to put down Lady Death.
Thank you, Maggie. Our audio is better.
Oh, excellent.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yay. She acts like a mobile sniper tower, so she's able to take things out at quite a distance. So it's good to have some sort of buffer army there, so that way it's not just her taking on any individual unit.
Did it hurt? So Nexon wants crown compensation for hurt ears.
Oh.
Me too.
Do we have our crown back there? I think we had a crown that was getting there. All right. Here's my terrible snarky reply. Here's your crown compensation. I'm sorry. No, I do apologize. That was my fault for the loud audio. I was doing some testing earlier, but thank you for pointing that out. Let's see. We have lots of guests, which we'll introduce after this match, and it'll be fun. You guys are going to like the folks that we're going to have popping in. I want to see some of those mastodons in action.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can drop some of them down here. We'll put everybody else down here. Here we go. Those are the mastodons and the plague catapults. So the plague catapults, every couple of throws, will infect an area with the plague, and it'll do damage over time.
So the best pun that I ever got to say on social media, I'm proud to say, had to do with the mastodons, and it was, "You Masta don't want to miss this sale," and it was so bad.
Well,
but they said, but it kind of snuck by, and no one shut it down. So I was like, oh my gosh, I was actually allowed to say this horrible pun to like an audience of 300,000 people. I think I got one person to LOL, and the rest just kind of did a thumbs down. So I apologize ahead of time for that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's. And on that day, I got fired, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So right now we're just sort of mopping some things up. We were able to attack this base from several different directions. We've got a handful of things. We've got 14 seconds. We'll see if we'll rally everybody to take out the last couple buildings. I don't know if we'll get there, but 92%, not looking bad. 7, 6, 96%. Oh man, 2, 1.
Oh.
97.
Oh, so close.
So close.
So close. That was good though.
Yeah,
that was
good. Not bad.
I was telling terrible jokes over most of that, so I apologize. So we'll do a couple more of those. Do you guys want to hop in and we'll do we'll do kind of like a, if you want to hang out and introduce yourself and tell what you do, you can do that now. Or if you're just comfortable hanging out in the back, you can do that too. Whatever you want to do. Let's have 2 people tag in first, and then we'll move these crowns over.
Okay. Alright, what did we not pick last time? We did not pick the Finnish ski army. We're going to grab those guys.
Alright.
I thought you would want to finish with those.
We can't do this game.
That was actually really good. That was
tell you what to do.
That was a pro level pun. I like that. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and explain what you do on the game?
Hi, I'm Kate Surf. I'm a producer on DomiNations. What does that mean?
That is a really good question, because I worked in games for a while, and I think there's always a different answer for that, because you kind of do a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah, it's mostly just keeping track of the schedule, figuring out knowing what the entire team is doing, and basically just helping to make sure that everything keeps moving, that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing at any given time, I guess.
Yeah, more or less. I'm Tara Ray. I'm also a producer on DomiNations. Very similar job description. But yeah, like Ash was saying, producer is really weird. Depending on which studio you're at, it can mean 8 different things. So if you ever end up talking to a producer from a game studio, make sure to ask what that means.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have a lot of obviously creative input on game design, and also there's a lot of managerial duties associated with being a producer. It's a hard job. Like the producers, I mean, like you guys should really appreciate them. They work a whole lot, and they do a whole lot for the game. So, give them a little digital round of applause for their work. So what are we doing right now, Greg?
So right now I'm starting in the bottom corner here, and then I'm going to try to work my way diagonally across the board. I am laying down some ground troops, and Let's see if we can get him to come in from the side. Nope, he's going to come in from the bottom. I should have gone in from the side. Oh well. I have all of our generals deployed. We have Alexander the Great, we have Cleopatra, and we have Joan of Arc. And we're going to do some of our troop tactics behind them. These are the assault vehicles. They were introduced in the Cold War. They're pretty good heavy-hitting tanks. We've got the Green Jacket Riflemen. They'll be providing some suppressing fire as well. Alright, let's see if we can't...
The missile silos on your generals.
Yeah, I gotta take care of that missile silo for a little bit.
Drop some decoys.
There it
We
goes.
can drop some decoys. Let's do that. Let's pull these guys away here and here. Let's see if we can add the Plague Doctor and the Finnish ski troops as a backup. And there. Now I've got enough runway for the APC. The APC has slowly dropped troops over time, so he's got enough runway to meet up with everybody else and spawn several rounds of troops. Let's these guys. We've got the town center there. 50% damage.
Did you drop the Finnish ski? Or are you going to finish with them?
Well, no, I did. I already
okay. I missed them.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I was reading
are.
chat.
They're right behind
They are.
the Plague Doctors.
They're hanging out over here.
Yeah.
Well, with Alexander the Great.
His tank.
In his tank.
As he historically drove.
Yes.
Historically accurate. Man, I can't imagine if that guy would have had a tank. That would have been game over.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like some of the event generals would be cool to see in tanks. You know, she never did it. Lady Death in a tank, I think, would be really cool. Just massive long range tank shot from way far away.
Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Not accurate.
Well, the George Washington is in a tank. That's one of our event
George
generals.
Washington tank.
That's his name.
The George Washington tank. He's like my favorite event general so far.
He's pretty awesome.
I think that
I almost just talked about my new favorite event.
Yeah,
general,
me
which
too.
isn't out yet.
We can't talk about it yet. But he's super cool. New one coming out.
Oh, Major Duche is back. Welcome back, Major Duche. I remember your name.
Yeah. I can't imagine why.
Always welcome back. Well, you did it.
There you go, 100%. I didn't get the quick victory, but that's all right.
Very good, very good.
That's all right. It's a good working towards that.
If you guys have any suggestions for any troop tactics or anything you'd like us to use, let us know in chat. We can tweak out our army and do some things here on the fly for you guys. But otherwise, we're going to play a couple matches before, of course, we dive into some news about the game. And, of course, we're going to be looking at the museum in depth and answering some questions about the museum during the second hour. So,
all right. What else do we have here?
What are we building now?
What haven't we touched yet? We didn't take any spies.
Yeah, the George Washington tank. I don't know if you can. Maybe we can hack that into the game at some point just to show it off since we're talking about it. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah.
Hook you up.
Yeah, we can show off the Washington tank. Why not?
Yeah, we sold him for 4th of July last year.
Yeah, 4th of July. Yep. I'm seeing a question regarding the chat bug, and I can tell you. I know that it's being worked on consistently, and do you guys have anything that you wanna add?
Yeah, I guess in general, like, we are terribly sorry for the issues that chat has caused. I'm not sure if we actually need to post about this or not, but we rolled out some chat fixes with the intention of making chat a lot better, because we know it's kind of had some issues for a long time, and the rollout that we did for those changes didn't go so well. We're still working through a couple of the issues. We do super appreciate everyone in the community reaching out and telling us what the issues are. Sending screenshots and videos is super, super helpful, tracking this down. But we should be getting that resolved soon. So hang in there.
Yeah. And we do, we are reading your comments on our social channels as well. So it's not falling on deaf ears, and everyone's working hard to resolve it. So sincerely thank you for the patience. It's it's hard when something you like doesn't work right. Sometimes it happens.
It's actually been kind of nice. I was able to hop in and out of Illuminati, the Rabbit Empire, and the Hobbit Zombies, just going from alliance to alliance, so I can replicate some of the issues as well. So it was nice to stop in and see some different alliances and see how you guys run. So.
Absolutely.
That's been the one upside.
Yeah, particularly if you guys do have bugs with stuff like that. Like, community is a good way to try and track down repros of that, and then if you can get them to Tin Soldier, he can try and get repros for us that we can go in and fix the bugs quicker. So that's Super helpful.
Yeah.
I need a third.
Oh, the Illuminati. 007 Acrobat, thank you so much for following us. Welcome, welcome. I was wondering what you guys were doing, and then I noticed the Illuminati. Someone was like, "What? Are they summoning something behind me?"
Summon.
When we get to the news part is going to be in about 35 minutes. So we're going to play some for a little bit, and then we will, of course, do go over the patch notes, and of course, answer more of your questions and go specifically over the creation of the museum. So we'll have more guests kind of floating in and out, and we'll do some more developer Q&A as well. You can stay the whole time. You're welcome to.
So this big blue circle here, so I'm going to cut in for a second.
Yeah,
that big
please.
blue circle was the spy, and she is identifying all of the traps, and she's going to move from one to the other and try to disarm them for my invading army.
Before she dies.
Before she dies.
Love that unit. I know I did a poll on social media a little while ago, and some people were not fond of her because of her utility, but I really like her. I think she's great.
Yeah. Just answering a couple questions I see in chat.
Yeah.
We know about the bottom of the screen issue that seems to be affecting some people on certain devices that you can't tap right above the troop bar. We are working on that one.
Translation to the chat, we just added in the ability for Thai text to be back in the game. That was, we updated our base system, our base engine to work with that now, so you should be able to do some of the chat characters that weren't supported before, but as far as like a full translation,
yeah, I'd be curious to know more about what you mean by that. Cause
like an auto, like a Google Translate run through kind of thing, or
like line auto translate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love to know more about that one. The widget, we also know about the issue with the widget, and we are investigating that now.
Dradis says Tin Soldier does a great job. Give him a raise.
That's also true. We're working on that as well.
Yeah. Raise needed for Tin Soldier. Lord Mosby says it's not always fair for Tin Soldier to be the focal point of game frustrations. How about a Discord server for Nexon BHG Developer Access Direct? I think I'll answer for it. I think that's more of a bandwidth issue. It's having a Discord server that is actually run by the studio or run by the developer means that someone has to be running it, which is it being a living, breathing publishing house and studio. There's a lot going on all the time, and right now I don't believe that there is necessarily time for us to run our own Discord. And plus, the player-run Discord servers are fantastic. So
yeah, I think there's also an element there too of like we want the community to have their own space and not a space that's run by us. Like we have the forums for that. We also have your guys' Discord servers. There's also a Reddit community, and like we really like that that's a space for you guys that you feel like you can own and do your own thing.
Right.
And we do have a lot of people that are checking, and we do read the posts, so we know what's going on in there. So there is definitely contact there. A lot of the stuff we want to work on is just we need more time in the day to do everything that we want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good that there's a lot of player-run stuff, Reddit, Discord, where they are the players, the community are the bosses. That I think makes for a more genuine, real community, which is something that we are big fans of.
You guys are more interesting than us.
Andy 3691. Thanks for the follow, Andy. We appreciate it.
Following up on the auto line translations, this is something we've been talking about a ton because like we have chat in game. We know that a lot of people are super active in other parts of the game, or at other parts of external channels, talking in other places. And it is something we're talking about, figuring out a way to make it easier for you to talk with your alliance beyond just our actual alliance chat. So.
Absolutely. Next on, please hire me says, can you give my friend Joel a shout out? Hello, Joel. Thank you for watching us. If you're watching us, otherwise, maybe you'll be watching this later. But thank you, Joel. Feel free to say hi in the chat. We'll definitely give you a shout out.
All right, what are we taking from this victory chest? We got gold, silk, or spies.
Ooh. Spies. We'll see. Spies. I say spies. We'll see what chat. Should we get some gold, some silk, or some spies? They're gonna say gold.
Do you think so? I would say silk.
You're already maxed out on gold, aren't you?
I think we are maxed out on gold.
We have no shortage of gold.
No shortage of gold.
All right, chat. What do you
say?
Spies. Okay, spies it is. We're taking the spies. Hooray!
I read Confusion Chaos as Confucius Nachos.
Oh, that's much better.
That's my handle, actually.
Which Confucius Nachos.
Sorry, Confusion Chaos.
That needs to be a thing.
You should update your username.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're taking the spies. Let's take the mastodons. We'll take the.
Oh, I love Cat says, can we get a Tin Soldier Twitch emote? Absolutely. I'm actually going to be working on some new emotes and stuff like that in the future. So.
Do we have a Cold War washing tank?
That means yes.
Okay.
I think there's secrets going on behind me.
There's secrets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good secrets. We'll do one more battle and then we'll check the secrets. Or do you think it's in there?
Secrets are on their way.
All right.
It should go to your inventory.
Yeah, it's gonna take us.
And I do see an influx of some new people that joined us. If you just joined us, we're going to do some matches really quickly. And of course, we'll be doing the FAQ and introduction to the museum during the second hour. So right around 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll be talking about the museum and answering a lot of questions about that. And of course, we'll be cycling in and out developers, and they'll be hopping in to talk about it. There we go.
All right, we'll get rid of the finished ski army.
Here's the George tank for you, Orcio? Brunerico. Thank you. That's much better.
I don't know.
All right. Can I show?
Beep.
I'm glad I'm not in a position to reveal secrets like you guys.
It is a little hard sometimes.
I bet, yeah, because you never know what is public facing yet.
Yeah, particularly because we're like already working on the next releases stuff. Like it's hard to remember. Oh wait, was that last time and is available, or is that not available yet?
The Acer is here. Hey, the Acer, welcome back.
Good evening. Where are you checking in from?
Good evening. So it's, I want to say,
Europe.
Yeah, probably. Eastern Europe would be evening, so there's 7 hours. The Acer, where are you, if you don't mind telling us? Vaguely, not your house, but your general location.
Send us your address. Don't send us your address.
Yeah, Lady Death is a lot of fun. I'm glad we're showing her off.
Is there anything else you want, Greg?
No, I think that we're okay for now.
Okay.
Unless there's something that you think is particularly fun that we didn't load.
You're in England.
Always throw shield names in your
Oh
inventory.
yeah, always shield names because I have a problem. And that's shield names are too good. That's the problem. Where'd you put washing tank down?
He's with a cluster of generals.
He's with the cluster. Yeah.
We gotta suppress the missile silo for a hot second. No, not that. This one.
Ooh.
The royal wedding.
Is there a wedding?
I don't believe we do. But should we is the question.
Now let's just let's brainstorm here.
Yeah.
What troop tactics would you add for the royal wedding?
The queen with a corgi army.
I think that's a great idea.
She works like the immortal troops.
Oh,
just more corgis over time.
Yeah. The queen just marches around and like little corgis jump out of her purse.
I like this. I like this idea.
Yeah.
It's okay, Major. I don't know what you said, so if it was really I forgive you. It's okay.
Hello in England. Good evening.
Yeah, hello. Good evening.
I think I've thoroughly lost this one. I did real bad.
Let's look at those mastodons, though.
Yeah. For one glorious moment.
Those mastodons that were definitely real and existed. Exactly like that.
Get out of the way. Go.
Run.
Run.
Elephants are not prepared to deal with missile silos.
But look at the size of that spear. I mean, it's clearly...
Should run a weekend event that just makes England way stronger.
Oh,
yeah.
For a weekend.
Great defense from Eric from Unleashed Family. Yes, that was good.
That was good. The had the Pentagon next to the Forbidden City, so that was really good layout. You need to destroy the one, and it's guaranteed general deposit for the other. So.
Max Sally 2910 says, I came a little bit late. Will we show the preview again? So the basic plan of attack here is to do a couple of base assaults, and then we're going to talk about some community stuff, and of course answer some questions about the FAQ and the patch notes, and also dive into the museum a little bit more. We'll probably close out. We'll show the opening video again near the end, which was our 3-year anniversary video. which some of you guys are probably in. I do see some familiar names in there, so
yeah,
I think
Tomb Raiders in there.
Yeah, I think a couple of you folks that are in the video are actually here in the chat. So big thank you again for being a part of that. That was just really fantastic, and like I said last time, very humbling. We also have links that are popping up here, so if you are new to the game, which I don't well, there might be some people that are new to the game, but that link will actually open up on any of your devices and take you to the store to download the game. So there you go. Click on that, and you can download the game. It is free. All right.
This is my Cold War chest. This is what you get when you age up to the Cold War. Apparently, we didn't open it yet after we aged up last time. So we're gonna collect our tanks, our Irish peacekeepers. These are all brand new units that come with the Cold War age.
This was really fun, particularly to do, because we basically sat down. We're like, how can we make Age Up more exciting? And we decided that, like, oh, we should give players the ability to play with all the new stuff in the Cold War age without waiting, you know, rather than waiting to upgrade your barracks to the next level. Like, we gave you a bunch of recruits, gave you a bunch of resources to just immediately jump in and see what's really cool about aging up.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It was super fun.
Can you comment on any future events that could reduce citizens' need for upgrades or reduced upgrade time? I can't comment on it.
But it would be cool,
That
right?
would be cool.
It would be cool.
But it would be cool,
It would be
right?
very cool.
But we can't comment on it yet. So I will say that is heavily requested, and like I said before, everyone's listening. So
We hear you.
we hear you. Make of that what you will, okay? Without me getting in trouble.
I know, right?
Without me getting in lots of trouble.
We know.
I'm easily expendable. You guys are not. They'll just be like, put me in a cannon and shoot me out of the cannon. That's how they get rid of people here, right? Cannons.
That's how we get you here in the first
Oh
place,
yeah,
right?
that's right.
Yeah, all
That's
the way
right.
from California.
You
Yeah.
visit,
Mm-hmm.
you visit us via canon.
Absolutely. Well played. Yeah, that's
It is
kind of.
canon.
I see some questions regarding the museum, if the artifact boost will affect wars in the future. We're going to, like I said, dive deeply into the museum and answer a lot of questions about the museum. So we'll go over frequently asked questions about the museum and also take questions from chat during the second portion of the show. So we're trucking along. You got about another 25-30 minutes before we do some museum stuff. So thanks for your patience.
Go, Spy, go.
I love the Spy.
Something that I don't know if we've ever talked about on this that I really love personally is, I don't know if people notice this, but all of the different troop tactics have their own unique flags that we make for each individual one, and they're really cool if you look at them. Like
I poorly clustered them now.
Yeah.
That you want to talk about this.
They're really cool, especially on top of each other.
The drop flags always have like some thematic element that talks about their history or is just, you know, super original to that unit.
Did you guys get the idea that was posted on Facebook and Discord about a white flag in wars? I'm not aware of that.
I haven't heard of that.
I do remember reading about that on Facebook, and I think what we do is when we get suggestions, we kind of put them all in a doc, and so they are eventually looked over by everybody. So every time we get like asked for suggestions about balance or whatever, we're kind of logging all of it to be looked at a later date. So I saw Perdam followed us. Thank you. And I want to say that was a name like Cold Streak. It flashed by very quickly when I was reading the chat, but Perdam and Cold Streak, thank you so much for following us here. We're going to be doing all sorts of fun stuff here on Twitch over the summer, and probably increasing the number of streams in the future. And the idea is to, of course, you know, build a really fun community that likes the game. Continue to build the community that is liking the game. So you'll be seeing us more on here, and thank you for the follow. How's it going? How's your battle going?
It's going all right. I just got my 75% damage in my town center, and I've got my generals, which seem to be in okay shape right here in the center of the map. So they've got one healing cart there, so that's supporting them nicely.
Uh-oh. I just got sniped.
Yeah.
Well, it's gone.
Thanks for the follow, Samurai.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I missed that one. Thank you.
I'm out of planes, so there's not a lot I can do to help right now. I don't ever want to rally too early. I'm always terrified of rallying at the wrong time.
Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining. Thanks for the good luck.
I see a question. Is it possible to add a button in the layout editor in order to move the entire base? Useful when more room is available on the map. That is also something we can't comment on. but we have talked about that a bunch as well.
Especially when we added in the new expansions. What was that? Last time? 6-2?
I have thought this many times when playing, that I make my entire layout and then realize that I really just wanted it like 3 squares over to the left.
Yeah, we actually talk a lot about layout in the office.
Yeah.
There's an alliance of mostly people who are devs who are in the office, and we're all in an alliance together, and sometimes we will have lunch and we'll sit down and we'll like replan base layouts together. We'll talk about army composition just all together as a group because we're all just in one big alliance together.
That's awesome. I have a question I get a lot on social media. When you guys are playing at the studio, are your accounts all like organic, or do you boost yourselves and tweak it?
It differs a little bit throughout the studio. I think it depends a little bit on when you started playing, because it is super important to us as a studio that we have a lot of people who are in the late game so that we can really understand that at an atomic level or a Cold War level. Okay, I'll
no, I'm proud of you.
So there are some people who, if they joined us a little bit later, they've definitely done some artificial catching up. But I know at least on my live account, I try really hard not to do anything artificial that wouldn't be something that everyone else in the game would play. And that's super important, just because we want to play the game like you guys play the game, so that we understand the game like you guys understand the game, because how else are we going to make good decisions about what we would want to see in it?
Absolutely.
Right, exactly. This is my base. This is my live base. I started playing December of 2015. So even before I started working here, I was playing the game. And it's just sort of, not, you can tell it's really not great for defense, but it feels very organic. Like, I built it organically. Like, as I expanded my empire, I placed things and in a logical way that made sense with the choices I had at the time.
Yours looks a lot nicer than mine does.
Yeah, it's very...
I find my town layout, I haven't messed with a ton, but my war layout is like super detailed.
I like your airstrip off to
yeah.
the side.
Yeah, way
you should
down
swap
the
your
bottom.
Forbidden City down there. Put your Forbidden City down there.
I should.
You'll see it coming.
That's true.
Oh,
yeah, I've got my Statue of Liberty way at the other end of the top there.
That's neat.
Next to that museum. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Whoa.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that soon. Let's shift gears for a few minutes, and we'll probably do some battles a little bit later on. But one of the things we kind of wanted to touch on was some stuff that's going on in the community. So this is the DomiNations Continental World Cup Tournament, which is, I'm gonna read the copy here, because if I try and paraphrase it, I'm gonna screw it all up, and I know that's gonna happen. So bear with me for a second here, and I'm going to go ahead and type something in the chat here that will be helpful. My mouse decides it wants to work. All right, so this, of course, is where you can sign up for the Continental World Cup Tour, and this is really, really fantastic news. So 6 regional teams of 50 players each from around the globe will face off in a double elimination tournament to determine a world champion. All players, global, atomic, and Cold War level 150 or above, are eligible for participation. The first match is set to start in mid-June. Sign up before June 13th, 2018 by completing the registration form on that link that I just sent you. And each regional team will compete for a minimum of 2 matches, with matches roughly 3 weeks apart, so not to be in position on your home alliance. Each competing team's roster of 50 players will be selected prior to matchups from a pool of 75 registered participants. All matches will have coalitions allowed, but no troop tactics will be used on offense or defense, nor event buildings used in a true test of skill or strategy. So all of these rules, of course, will be available once you sign up. It says, come join the fun community and challenge yourself against the best competition in the world, and the biggest worldwide tournament ever put together for DomiNations. So this is really fantastic, and of course this is another map that they sent us of the regions participating, and here's some more information about it. And the link I just posted there up in the chat, it's a bit.ly link, DNPRIME, if you want to go there. And that will, of course, take you to where you can sign up. And we're going to have, of course, more support for this on our social channels. But we really love when the community does stuff like this. It's, again, humbling and fantastic that the community goes and puts so much effort into an activity like this. And if you're interested in doing stuff like this or setting up your own events, definitely reach out to us on social media, and we will support it to the best of our abilities. And we think it's awesome.
It's been great to see it as sort of a natural progression. There was the first ones were the All-Star Wars, where players left their home alliances to make brand new alliances, and then we helped pair and match them up. And then we had an Italy only war, and we've had upcoming soon is a French only war, and so it's sort of
the boys versus girl war for Valentine's Day.
Yes, I remember that.
That was fantastic. That turned out really, really well. So it's been great to see this as a community run driven event, and we're excited to help match make these and make it all happen.
Right. And I think the thing that's great about community run events is it would be hard. We have more hurdles working with the publisher and you guys on the development team. There's more logistical hurdles for us to organize something this complex than for you to organize something this complex, because we have like legal and all this stuff, and like you guys can just do the stuff and then hopefully we can support it. KG Ask, thank you for the follow. See if I can get your little thing to flash up there for a second. There, thank you for the follow.
It is also super cool, like the graphics you guys have been putting together for these. Every time they get shared out to us, it's always like, did we make this?
Yeah, it's
like
really
this is super slick.
Maggie, who is in chat now, is one of the organizers of the event that we just plugged, and I said the same thing to Tin Soldier this morning. I was like, this art that she sent me for the event is fantastic. It's really, really good. So thank you for doing that. And
we have a meeting once a week where we share stuff about the studio internal to ourselves, and it's always been a great joy of mine to share what the community is doing with the team at large. Because sometimes day in, day out, you're just programming or creating art or testing the game or some other part. But to watch it as a living, breathing thing that you're actively participating in or doing or making choices on that we could never have foreseen is so fantastic.
Right. Absolutely.
Say one of the great things I love about DomiNations is that it totally has a life of its own outside of, like, we are the developers and we make the game, but you guys make the game what it is. Like, it would not be what it is at all without all of the social stuff you guys put together. It's super cool.
Drakion237, thank you for following us. We appreciate it. And Destruction Gaming is here, another one of our community supporters. Thanks, buddy.
Hello, King Lorenzo.
There's a question actually from Lord Mosby that's important. It says, would joining a tournament like this make me susceptible to current bugs like the chat donate troop bug?
Currently, as it stands right at this time, the Leaving Alliance one, we think we've put mostly to bed. If you're in a bad state still, please contact CS. They have a couple troubleshooting steps that we've shared with them to help get you in a better state. We don't think that this will continue to happen to people. If it is continuing, please let us know. Please send us tickets, and we will take a look at it as soon as we possibly can. So far as I know, there's a couple lingering bugs that don't put people in bad states but aren't great user experiences that we are going to try to fix as soon as possible. But as far as people getting in a bad state, we believe that one to be solved. And if you are still currently in a bad state, please talk to CS, and they should be able to help you troubleshoot to get into a better place.
There's a question in the chat of if this says DomiNations in Chinese. Yes, it does. We got these made for the China launch when we did that about a year ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually translate directly to DomiNations. I forget.
It's War and Civilization.
There you go. Yeah.
War and Civilization.
But it didn't carry the pun over.
Yes.
Those shirts are very, very limited. There's only a few floating around, so they're very rare. Maggie wants us to mention that Clint from Prodigal Thieves did a significant amount of work organizing the tournament. So thank you, Clint from Prodigal Thieves, for doing all that work. Yay. Silent clap. Thank you for doing that. We very much appreciate it.
Speaking of DomiNations shirts, we tried to vary all of the different ones.
Yeah, you guys have lots of.
You got the nice necks on.
Yeah,
shirt.
the blue.
I think no one has the new one.
No one has the black and
new
white
ones.
I want one of the new ones.
Yeah.
What do they look like?
Zeta07 is now following. Thank you, Zeta07, for giving us a follow. So we're going to shift gears because we're coming up on the second hour here pretty soon. And we put a shout out on social media a few weeks ago for you guys to show off your cities. And so one thing we like to do is kind of show off all your hard work. And so we went through and marked a bunch of cities that we found on social media that you guys sent to us, and we're going to go ahead and show some of those off now. So I think we saved a bunch ahead of time now.
Yeah, we should be able to pop through that list.
If we blow through them quickly, we'll also take a look at some of yours here in the chat. So hang out with us for just a minute. We're going to look at some of your cities and kind of chat about them and show them off. And again, thank you for submitting them. We got over our social channels a couple hundred different submissions. So I think that's pretty fantastic. And thank you for sending them our way.
Yeah, do you guys think we have time to tag in?
Yeah, sure. If you guys want to. Thank you so much for hanging out.
I forgot you guys were working back there.
Working.
I can feel them.
Working. Oh, I love your jacket. I'm so jealous of your jacket.
Thank you. I should have worn Dom's shirt under it.
I love the jacket. I'm so jealous of it.
I'm just clapping with the songs right there.
Why are they here? Who
Oh,
let them
there's-
out of QA?
It's creepy clowns.
It's the worst one.
There's about like maybe a dozen scary clowns floating around our office right now.
Yeah,
I mean, they're absolutely horrifying.
They keep appearing on everyone's desk.
Yeah, the rule is if you find it like hiding in the plants next to your desk, you need to like put it somewhere else so you can scare the crap out of a different person.
Oh no.
We live on the edge here.
It's my least favorite office tradition.
So now you know the new office tradition at Big Huge Games is creepy clowns. So feel free to send them creepy clowns in the mail.
Please don't send us
please
clowns.
send us
It is too late.
That was apparently the wrong thing to say. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves to the audience and let them know what you do.
All right. Hey everyone, my name is Kayla. I'm a designer on DomiNations, and yeah. There you go, man.
Well, I'm Jazz. I'm QA on DomiNations.
Awesome. So when you say designer, that could mean so many different things.
That's true.
What is your niche? Like, what is your sort of? Do you dabble in everything, or what specifically do you do? What's your? I don't want to say day to day because I know it's always different. But what's your favorite aspect of being a designer?
I think I'll do the first part of the question first, and then
Sure.
do my favorite.
Yeah.
A designer on DomiNations kind of here it means I'm writing specs for features. I'm working on new troops. I'm interacting with the art team and the engineering team and the QA team and making sure that the things that we're working on are to the designs that we really want in our game. So that's typically what I work on. Most recently, I've been working on lots of troops and a few new features that you guys haven't seen yet. And
can you tell us what those are? I'm just kidding.
Don't
do that.
Well,
No
I
pressure.
can tell you about some previous troops that are
That'll
in
get
there.
me in trouble.
So like the Outlaw, the Master Assassin, or like Lady Death, like all these previous troops from a while ago that we released.
Yeah. So you had your hand in the Lady Death unit.
Yes.
Oh, she's so much
actually
fun.
did work on like all the troops.
Okay, but I don't want to say all. I had help, so I have helped with many of the new troops.
Yeah.
You did the Master Assassin, right? That was the second Assassin unit that came out?
Yep.
Okay, what was the challenges of designing a unit, or was making it similar yet interesting based on a unit that already exists in the game?
I think the most challenging part was making it, I guess, I don't want to use the word cool, but making it cooler than the one that's already in the game. So the regular Assassin already does, like, he's already really cool. People, like, players love him. So you wanted to do something better than the previous one. So if everyone hasn't played with him yet, the Master Assassin actually casts a decoy spell every so many attacks. So we really just trying to differentiate him and make him a really cool unit. So he has a spell. He does really high damage. He can soak up a lot of damage. So yeah, if you guys haven't played with Master Assassin yet, definitely check him out. He's in the Assassin Fortress. Yeah.
That's exciting. And the brainstorming sessions must be so much fun, sitting down, deciding like what's coming next. And then of course you have these fun events with fire breathing bunnies and mastodon riding. Yeah, like that must just be so fun to sit down and be like, okay, what can we come up with? Because the fact that you guys go, from the Stone Age to the Space Age, or almost to the Space Age, there's so much to pull from. Do you ever find yourself wanting to go back and designing like you did with the Mastodon, designing like unit? What? Let me rephrase this. I'm rambling, but let me rephrase this. What era for you personally has been your favorite to pull from to make units for?
I'm not sure if I have a favorite era, but I have lots of different parts that I like a lot. So I think me and Kate have the same new favorite troop that we can't talk about yet. So definitely there is probably an era. But I think most recently,
I'm gonna just like rat you out at some point. Kayla really likes like Eastern Asian history.
I do. So
Okay.
so in college, I also speak Korean. So like I took a lot of Korean and Japanese and Chinese history classes.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So there are definitely some museum items that I guess we'll get to later that we had to write a bunch of nerd text for, and there's definitely had a hand in helping with that stuff. So if it's an East Asian troop, I might have had a hand in getting it in the game. So some of the African troops too, I'm like, oh, I really studied this. I like this.
That's great. No, that's really great. That is a really fascinating and really in-depth and complicated era in history. So it's cool that you
lots of murder actually.
A lot of murder, yeah. Yeah, one of the things, this is totally just an anecdote, but one of the things that I used to do with my students is we had to memorize the dynasties in order. And it was like this, we had this horrible song, which I will not sing. I probably still haven't memorized it, even though it's been a lifetime ago. But do you remember it?
No.
Oh,
I hear it. So
I don't know if I remember it. I'm not gonna do it.
No,
I'm not
you
gonna
know
I'll do it off the air. I'll do it
Yeah,
off
you
the
know
air because I think it'll resurface by the end of it. But it was a really fun way of memorizing the dynasties, and like the fact that you know a bunch of that history is really fantastic because there's a lot. XIY4, thank you for following us. We appreciate it. We love all these follows, and of course we're gonna be doing more with this channel. Sing.
Merida, this is our gateway as well. We put a gateway to Narnia just like the same way you had yours on your base.
Very excellent. Ziata07 says, Lady Death is one of my favorite troops. Thanks for making that. So it's one of my favorites too.
I love that one too, Ziato. So.
Yeah, she's very, very cool.
Hi, Ziato7.
It's a local favorite.
Lays waste to things. Lays waste to things. What about yourself, sir?
Me, yeah, I'm Jazz. I work in the QA department here in DomiNations. I think so. Getting back to Lady Death, I think one of my favorite things about Lady Death is that she's one of the generals, right? And she's got this crazy long range that basically one shots everyone. Like, she just no scopes dudes from across the map, and she's like crazy powerful in that way. If you have a couple tanks in front of her to take the hits for her.
Oh, you're spilling strategy now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to give all of my secrets away because it's the only secret that I have for winning this game. But I think she's one of my favorites. She's so powerful in that sense.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Confusion Chaos asked, I'll ask you some questions about QA in a second because I have a few brewing. One question I'd like to ask, is there a way to convert resources into each other when you max your walls, gold, and food goes to waste?
Not currently.
Yeah. I do see that question pop up on occasion.
Right.
A conversion for different resources.
I would like to say it's impressive that you're maxing your walls before everything else.
I kind of, when I read that, yeah, normally that's the last thing.
You're getting ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Another question, are we likely to see any Cold War era wonders?
No. So
there we go.
We do new wonders every other age. I think that's always true. So in the next stage, there will be wonders. There'll be new wonders.
A thing.
Yeah.
Like the moon.
We'll give you the moon.
Yeah. So if you've got your predictions on what the next age wonders are going to be, we'd love to see them in the chat.
Or ideas.
Oh yeah,
or ideas, please give us ideas. Because I can't think of anything better than the moon for some reason.
Yeah, they're finished, so we're just waiting for predictions.
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue. I'm sorry, I was reading questions and zoning and something. So your QA, for those people that don't necessarily know like what goes into QA and how incredibly important it is, what is sort of the process of like your workload when you come in the morning? What do you have to tackle on a day to day?
So here working on DomiNations, every day is kind of different. So I could be working on a feature that's coming up, or I could be investigating issues that we've been seeing happening previously. I could be in like a playtest in the morning saying, oh man, this troop's way too powerful. Caleb, you can't do that.
Go mad with power.
Yeah, she just turns everything up to 99999. Every day is a little bit different here, and there's just a lot for the QA department to do, which is really awesome because there's a wide variety of work that we could do. And I think that's my favorite part about it, whether it be working on new things or old things or.
He loves telling me when things are too powerful.
That's absolutely the favorite part.
Well, balance is so important, especially in a competitive game like DomiNations, and that's I think a lot of games really struggle with that. You know, when a meta gets established and there's something that people see as game breaking, like we hear about it a lot on the community side, but then it filters back to you guys, which is what's really important about the give and take between community and members of the community management, and of course, you know, QA and on the development side. So it is really just a big process that you guys are 100% a part of.
We do spend a lot of time balancing not just the troops, but the buildings and everything else, the economy. Everything in the game does get balanced a lot. So
yeah, there's a lot of playtesting, looking back on things and seeing how new things affect those old things and how it's going to go in the future. So there's a lot to think about when something's in development.
Yeah, that's exciting. So we've been kind of cruising through a lot of your player submitted bases. We have a couple minutes. If you're here live in chat and you want us to take a look at your city, you can go ahead and tell us your name and your alliance here in chat, and we'll go ahead and look at it live and kind of tell you what you need to do. And we have a request to see top 100 alliances.
Oh, well, we would love to show you the top 100 alliances. But I might pass on that.
Okay, we're going to pass on that for now.
Sorry.
It's okay. I believe Ace BD, his name is Tower Bridge, and he's in London Wonder. I believe that's... he's suggesting. Okay. I was like, Tower Bridge, London Wonder. He wants a London... Oh, I see. I see what's happening now. Got it.
I can take that question about cheating really quick.
Yeah.
We actually do a lot of work to curb any cheating or any kind of exploits that we see currently functioning in the game. We have a cheat report that goes out pretty much every week, and we do investigation into each one of the ones that aren't reported, and ones that are repeat offenders do get action taken against them. We also have a lot of defensive measures that we put in the game to really take a close look and see if there is anything we could programmatically do to stop these. But cheaters are always going to be a little bit more wily. We got to stay one step ahead of them, so we work hard on that quite often.
And the community helps a lot with that as well. Sending in screenshots or suggestions or videos. We've actually been able to find a lot of exploits or clamp down on a lot of cheaters because of your hard work and your observations.
We have one dev in particular who is he loves breaking cheaters, and we find him like it'll be like 2 a.m. and we'll see him on our chat program, and he'll be like, "Oh man, I found this new guy who's cheating, and I totally found out a way to block him. We should get this in."
It gets a little scary sometimes. He's like, "I found him. He's getting out of here. We gotta get him right now. We gotta get him." I'm about to knock on the door right now.
Rhino, thank you so much for the follow. We appreciate it. It says hard to hear the lines in the back, so if back there the mic's going to be a little softer, so just for future. Tin Soldier taking part in the Continental Wars? You should.
I probably should. Yeah,
you should.
Tentatively, yes.
Sure. That'll be fun, and we'll probably cover the Continental Wars, on a future stream. That'll be fun to kind of go over it and analyze it. That'll be a lot of fun. Let's see if we have any submissions here. Cold Hands 2017, is that your name as well? And I remember you from before because San Fran, Tokyo.
Yeah.
Are you looking at it now?
We just were just a moment ago.
Okay, I missed it.
Dabber, that's a good base name.
All right, so let's look at this one right before we take our break and come back and talk about museum. But the name Admiral Zero and the Alliance Jedi Rebels. So we'll look at his live. Second half of the show, we're going to take a quick couple-minute break just to grab some fluids and stretch our legs a bit, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about the museum, actually a lot of bit about the museum, and about some of the things that dropped in the latest patch. So hang out with us, please. We want to see you guys here. Admiral Zero. Yeah, there he is.
Online.
It's online right now.
Right now.
Thanks for submitting, Blazing Sword. Cool.
Nice. Okay, this is an Enlightenment age base. That's awesome. It's cool to see what wonders per age everybody picks.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good for your defenses. It boosts all your defensive troops.
I love the layout.
Yeah, another good placement of walls. All my walls are just like in a big old circle around my base. It's not creative whatsoever, but
Fred 104, thanks for the follow. Yeah, I love his layout.
Yeah, the compartment strategy is really popular.
Yeah.
And also leaving the town center outside is popular.
Right, so they get the easy peace treaty. This is neat too. I imagine that's intentional. There might be some logistics or traps, something there.
right
Yeah.
there. Yeah, we know.
We know the traps are there.
Oh, he has the new shirt.
He's got it.
New shirt.
They're excited about the new shirt. And we have to steal one this afternoon.
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick, maybe 2-3 minute break. So please be patient with us and hang out. What we're going to do before we take during the break is we're going to show off a lot of your bases that you submitted on social media. So a little slideshow will go by with your bases. Chat will be open, so continue to chat. We're going to mute our mic, grab some drinks, come back, and then we're going to be talking about the museum as well as our patch notes. So thank you for your patience, and thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we will be right back. All right, everybody, we are back. We have drinks and I've stretched our legs a minute. Thank you so much for hanging with us. So this second portion, we are going to be talking about patch notes, and of course, we'll be talking a lot about the museum. Before we get started, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, stream. My name is Travis. I'm a game designer here on DomiNations.
What did you have to do with the museum, sir?
I've been working on the museum for the whole entire time that we've been developing it. I started off coming up with the idea and then getting it pitched to the team, getting them on board, and then working with the engineers and the artists to bring it to life and then bring it to you guys.
Awesome. Is the game sound back up? I'll turn it back down. Oh, thanks. Good call, guys. Matthew 3S, thank you for the follow. First of all, I want to say before we get started, I love the museum, and I love the idea of the museum, and I love the variety it's bringing to the game. But I'll gush a little bit more later. So I thank you for making it. It's super cool. Before we get to that, we're going to quickly talk about patch notes. If you want to jump on over to our water.
Sure.
So this one, I got this, I don't even know how many times on our social channels. iPhone X/10 support.
Game sounds too loud.
Yeah. Still? Game sound too loud? That should not be happening. Okay, we'll get it.
Cool. Thank you for the call out about
Yeah.
the sound.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. So yeah, the iPhone X support. Let's talk a little bit about this and what's going on with that.
Yeah, so with this new update, you can now get the full screen for your iPhone X. It took us a while to do because we had to redo every screen of every part of the game. So not just your base, but your loading screens and your World War map and your even your inbox and things like that. Oh, sorry, I'm not touching things. We're not looking at the patch notes. But yeah, we had to redesign all of the screens, and we had to deal with the bump out as well. So we'll have some like floaty buttons, so that way you can hold your phone left or right. So that's sort of what the layout is now.
Right, and I just recently got an iPhone X, literally last week, and the screen size is so different compared to what the older iPhones were. So it was, I don't think people really realize how much work had to go into that.
Yeah, I worked a lot with the team who did this, so I can provide a little bit extra context here. Part of the other big challenge is that there's like super strict requirements from Apple about what constitutes like iPhone X support.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the notch on the one side, but one of the requirements is that you actually have to support the notch on both sides. So you basically, around the edges of the screen, you can't have anything interactable there. So we had to, as you can see on like our screen right now, our UI is very like, it's flush up against the edges. It looks really nice. There's a lot of good visual parity there, and we had to basically redesign all of that in order to fit the new Apple guidelines for iPhone X support. So it was a big undertaking, and the people who worked on it did a great job, and we're super happy to finally get it in your guys' hands, but it did take a long time, so thank you for being patient with us.
Thank you. And I'm seeing some of you guys talking about sound. If you shouldn't be hearing any game audio at all right now. If you are, there's something very wrong, and I apologize. So when you say turn the sound down, if you're talking mic, let me know, or if you're talking game audio, let me know. But there should be no game audio. There should just be mic audio, and it should be pretty clear. Okay.
Cool. It's good.
Good.
Now.
Okay.
Yay.
Thanks. I appreciate
Streaming
it.
is hard.
Yeah, there's a lot of knobs,
Yeah.
man. There really are a lot of knobs. So there you go. iPhone X support is here. We thank you guys for your patience with that. And, I have it on my phone now. It looks great. So thank you for that. Let's jump on over to bug fixes and changes. And we released, I'm going to go ahead and spam the chat here with this now. If you have any questions or if you want to look at the full patch notes, you can go ahead and click on this link and this will give you everything.
Oh, cool.
And it's also going to be available if you go to our Twitch channel, Nexon Mobile. If you scroll down, you should see these patch notes there as well. So there's a link if you happen to miss this one, or if you're watching this, on a device that you don't want to click on right now and you want to watch it later. But yeah, our patch notes are available to read in full. But let's kind of quickly go over some of them now. Knob is something completely different in England. Yeah, I think I can kind of guess what it is. Are there any of these bug fixes, Tin Soldier, that you think really stand out, or QA, if you guys want? So we have text edits, art fixes, changes to the rocket arsenal. Basically, I'm not going to go over all the bug fixes because there were a number of them. But if you want to look at them in full and see some of the things that were repaired in this last update, please just head on over to the link that just popped up in your chat, and you can read all about it. Ronald Itz, thank you for the follow.
Crashes that occur when opening the map editor. Generals on cooldown. If you had a general and a cart, they were being healed. But they actually wound up on cooldown. We fixed that bug. We're just constantly trying to improve and fix any part of the game that doesn't go as smoothly as possible. So we're always happy to add a lot of updates and fix as many bugs as possible.
BabaKep25, thank you so much for the follow. We appreciate it. This is so sorry that I can't participate in the talking due to work, but it's nice to see developers doing a live Q&A with their players. Yeah, APOM93, thank you so much for the compliment.
I know him.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Adam.
There you go. Yeah, I love getting the developers in front of the community and kind of hitting them with questions and taking questions from you guys. I think it's really important, and I think it builds a happy, really vibrant living community. So I think that's great.
Can I take a quick second and introduce one of our devs?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Scott. Scott is our lead server dev on DomiNations. He was the main server guy for Museum. He's also the one that I mentioned earlier in the stream who loves taking out cheaters.
Knocks down their doors. Yeah, no mercy.
Yeah, there you go. No mercy for cheaters. Thank you for doing that. Leroy from the crew, thank you for giving us a follow. So we were quickly going over bug fixes, but let's go ahead and dive into. Well, let me ask you for a minute. Let me dial it back for a few seconds. What is sort of your position entail, and what is your sort of day-to-day like on the job?
So I'm the lead server engineer on DomiNations. And as far as Museum goes, Museum was a big feature that we wanted to do right from the ground up. And part of what that means is really getting all the control of it on the server side, all the decision making, the dice rolling, everything that happens, everything that you get, it's all happening server side and coming down to the client, which is a bit of a departure from the way that we've done DomiNations in the past. Big thing for that is it makes it very secure. It makes it very reliable. It's just been it's been a great opportunity to rethink how we add features to the game, make them stronger, make them better, make them more reliable, and it's been a bit of a learning process for us all, but it's been a good experience, and I think Museum really shows.
Awesome,
yeah.
Awesome. Dark Slayer, thanks for following us. We appreciate it. See a big influx of people here that just jumped on the second hour. So thank you. We're about to do a deep dive into the museum, which is one of the brand new features that was recently added this week to DomiNations. Let's go ahead and Greg, if you want to drive for us, that should work. That's good. So let's go ahead and jump into, I have some questions and stuff prepped here for the museum. And feel free in chat if you guys are watching and you have specific questions about the museum, go ahead and ask them. And of course, we'll take your general questions as well. General questions.
Are we gonna speed the museum up. We're gonna
Yeah,
wait.
let's do it. Let's
We're gonna speed the museum up.
We'll be here for 24 hours, guys.
Let's get those crowns, Greg.
Yeah, before
I know a guy.
we actually improved the museum ruins from the last patch. They were on the base in 6.2 as like a museum's coming soon, but we got some feedback that it wasn't quite cool enough. It wasn't like stand out enough, so we actually went in your 6.3 bases. You will actually see an improved museum, much cooler ruins that look a lot more like the museum was actually finished.
Yep.
Yeah, and I really like how the museum changes as you level it up, and features that kind of get added to it slowly as it gets better.
The water, the animated water.
Yeah, throughout the whole feature, the art team did a fantastic job with museum. I just want to do a shout out to them for all of the artifacts they created. The museum building itself, it feels really, really good. Like when you open it up and look at everything, they did a great job.
Well, if you think about the evolution that the artifacts have taken, just the artifacts alone, from what we started with to what we ended up with all the different colors and all the variations and the tech that we came up with to make them really feel distinct. Even though you might get several of the same ones, they all look kind of different and they're all kind of cool.
Yeah,
in their own little way.
Mm-hmm. And they all have their own unique attributes as well. So
yeah, right.
We can display artifacts in the museum exhibits to power up your town and troops.
Is that your pompous voice?
Do you have a better pompous voice?
No, I don't. Please, yours is amazing.
That was fantastic.
Tap the storage button to enter the artifact storage.
I will always hear that in my head now when you talk.
Here, you can imbue and manage your artifacts. Tap the craft button.
Coxsirkin, thank you so much for the follow. We appreciate it. So while Greg's kind of clicking through this, I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions that have popped up and also talk about some things that we put up in our FAQ about the museum. Let's talk a little bit about the origins of the museum and where the idea came from. So you said that you pitched this idea to the team.
Yeah.
Nothing like this has existed in DomiNations before. It's a completely new system. So how do you go from sort of dreaming it up to actually bringing it in front of the team and making it become a reality?
So the museum itself has kind of been an idea that's been kicked around within the team for a while. I mean, the game is a historical game. Like, it's based on history. I think that's what a lot of our players love. That's what a lot of us developers love. The fact that we can look for and surface some of that lesser known and actually celebrate some of the well-known history. So the museum made perfect sense for that. And then basically we wanted to come up with a large feature that would give players a lot of gameplay. They can sort of incorporate it into their normal day-to-day routine. You can build on it slowly. You don't have to worry about maxing it out right away. Everybody else is going to be doing the same thing of slowly building it up. And also basically just showing off the really cool art. Like that's
the art is really
thing,
cool,
yeah.
And Maggie Dominates in chat kind of gave a shout out to the art team, and you know, all the art that I encounter I absolutely love. I have a question sort of as a history nerd. Like, how do you guys, like, these artifacts are from all over the place, but how did you guys go about choosing the ones that you chose? Because there's some really deep cuts where like we're like, who is that person and what is that? Like, we joked like Napoleon's shoes is sort of like, I don't know if it's in the game. It's probably, but it's like,
we've got something from Napoleon.
There is a Napoleon artifact.
Yeah, there's a Napoleon artifact.
Yeah, I think the other like cool part to mention here is that like in history, there's like three really big parts that you can showcase. There's places, which we have all of our buildings, we have all of our wonders. There's people, which our big deep dive for that is our generals and our university. And then there's things, and this is finally getting all of the really cool things that exist in history into the game with this. And I know that, like, at least when we were developing it, like, basically everybody threw out ideas of different stuff that we wanted to do.
Yeah, the team really pitched in and suggested a lot of artifacts, and we have a very diverse team here. So we got artifacts from all over the world that were suggested, and then a small group of designers got together and looked at that list, pared it down, did some deep dive into the research to get more of a historical basis, and then we selected those artifacts for the initial release. And there's currently over 50 unique artifacts. One of the major guidelines that I was trying to do was to showcase some of the well-known artifacts that you see, but then also bring in some of the lesser-known artifacts to help kind of educate people, but in a fun way when they see something new that they haven't really seen before.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I want to call out Von Chubbs, who says, I think the artwork in the entire game is dizope, and I completely agree.
I think that's a good thing.
I think that's a good thing. So thank you for that. Yeah, I like the artwork quite a lot. Now, plans, and it's way too early to talk about this, so I apologize ahead of time, but I'm assuming that the plan is to continue to expand upon the artifact collection as we progress.
Yeah, the whole scope of the museum, it took a while for us to properly build it and lay it out, and now we want to keep supporting it. Now that it's live for players, we've already got future updates that we're working on right now, even as we speak. I can tell you that we do have 3 different regions of the world that are currently in the museum. We have, it's Greco-Roman, European, and Ancient Asia. And we're also planning on adding 2 other regions in a future update for Africa and American, like basically covering all of the continents. So we do have a lot of plans to support it.
Yeah, it probably doesn't come as any surprise. There's a lot of cutting room floor stuff and stuff that didn't make it into this release, but there's a backlog of ideas that we want to add to it and support it. And
yeah,
I think everybody's going to love them.
Yeah.
And we'll be doing a lot of questions on social about things that you might want to see in the museum, and stuff does make its way to the developers' ears. So I'll definitely keep your eyes and ears. I'm going to go ahead and put our social channels up here real quick on our social channels, and if you're curious or maybe want to suggest some things that you'd like to see pop up in the museum, let us know, and then of course us on the community team, we will forward it to the developers, even though they do lurk the channels and read them too. And maybe your idea will make it into the game. That sort of stuff does happen. So
yeah, we are using like this release to get the feedback from players about the museum, so that we can incorporate that feedback in the future release as well. So if there's something that you feel could be improved on in the flow of how the museum goes between different screens, or you want to better surface some of the information, send these guys a message over the social channels or leave it in the forums, and we'll take it into consideration.
Jakey BD is now following. Thank you so much, Jakey, for the follow. We appreciate that. Sort of a surface level question, but one I think that's kind of important. How long have you guys been working on this since you had that? First of all, were you in the shower when you thought of this? Because all of my great ideas are always in the shower, and I literally jot things in the mist and the glass, and I'm like a crazy person. I'm like, yeah, here's a great idea, and I'll write it down so I don't forget it while I'm in the shower. You don't really have to answer that, but how long from when you thought of it, maybe or maybe not in the shower, to when you actually started working on this? And how long were you guys working on it?
I actually started working on the beginning of the museum and pitching it to the design team here about a year ago, actually. So it's been in the works for a while. It's a very large feature, as I'm sure you guys have played with it and seen. So it's taken a lot of time to plan it effectively. Scott mentioned earlier about us putting a lot of the logic back on the server, so that took a lot of work. And then I think we've been developing the feature October. Yeah,
we started prototyping in October, and I remember when the rumors were going around about this being done, and they were saying, "Hey Scott, we're gonna develop the largest server-side feature the game's ever seen," and I started sweating bullets a little bit. And, thought, wow, how are we really gonna get this into the game? This is pretty huge. But man, we started cutting ground on it and just kind of laying the basic tracks in. Another developer did a fantastic job just ripping up a prototype on the client real fast and gave me a playground to play with, and from there we got rolling. And,
that's awesome.
And from there it's just been iterating inside the office, getting some people from outside to play it and see how they felt about it, and just coming up with the best approach. But I'll tell one story. I remember
please do, yeah.
When Brian had a flow chart for just the user interface, and I didn't know what he was looking at, and I see this thing, this it took up the whole page, and it was like the largest flow chart I've ever seen. I was like, wow, what is that? He was like, this is the UI for museum, and I said, you kidding me, right? That's insane. That's gonna take us like a year to develop. We got it done, and from that point, we got it done in about 4 months and knocked it out of the park.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And one of the great things is, since we did take the time to develop it properly, any of the future updates should be much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
We can keep adding and supporting the museum and not spending a lot of time at tacking on things. Like, we thought ahead and planned for future updates.
Oh yeah, no, it's designed to be expandable fairly easily, not too much pain. There's already future features stubbed in, ready to go. So when we decide to pull the trigger, we're going to be able to iterate on this pretty fast.
That's awesome. I see a couple questions in chat. Will this game ever come to console, like arcade or whatever? I don't think we can really talk about that stuff quite yet. But
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it is. It would be super fun on console. This is actually a good question. What about new bugs that this update will introduce to the game? Can you guys please address that? I know from my community side, I'm like kind of on the surface, like rotating around all this stuff going on. I can tell you that I know the team was fearful, but at the same time, it's always a fearful process of introducing new content into a game, no matter what. And this is a very, very big in the number of systems, like you were saying, and like just the UI is crazy. So there's a lot of apprehension, but I think excitement as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And one of the great things about it being a little bit more server side is we can only push client updates when on release schedules when Google and Apple give us that window. We can push servers pretty much whenever we want. I mean, we're very cautious and very careful about it, but if we see something that's a major issue and it's giving players a hard time, we can update that and get that fixed pretty quickly. And that's only like true of these newer features. We haven't been able to do that in the past, so this is something that I look forward to as an opportunity to turn things around a little bit quicker and get players back on track the way they want to play.
I've seen a couple of these questions pop up in the chat about museum benefits not applying to World Wars.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the decision to make it that way and maybe why that was implemented?
So we are planning on adding in support for World Wars in the future. The museum itself, this initial release was really large, so we needed to kind of rein it in a little bit just to make sure that it was properly tested before it went live for everybody. So that's why currently museum only really affects regular PvP and not World Wars, but that is something that we're planning on supporting.
Yeah, I think it's another good point to mention. Hopefully everybody knows how much we care about the quality of this game. Museum presented such a crazy permutation of different items and different things to test that this was the first feature that sort of required us to have a QA engineering team that could whip up tests to figure out the effects of literally millions of different items on the game.
Yeah.
And, it's like that alone kind of shows you the scope of this. Like we built a team around just testing every conceivable permutation of item. And I think they did a really amazing job. I mean, they whipped stuff up pretty fast and got us up and running. And they were able to cut down the man hours for finding a bug from like several thousand to just under 100, and they found a whole bunch of things that was like we never would have found them if we didn't have that tech.
That's also something that's like kind of important to mention here is like we have an amazing QA team that's been
I'm the only one.
That's not
you might know
they're gonna get mad at you. There's a lot more. There's a huge amount of QA hours that go into the game, but like a fun statistic is that even when we only release on Android, when we release on Android for like the first 30 minutes, in that 30-minute window, people have already hit that like the release more than our entire QA team can hit in the span of 2 months. Like in 30 minutes, players are going to be able to hit so much more than people will ever be able to hit on our side, and that's just a nature of game development. So we try to bust as many bugs as we can in early on releases, and we do keep a really good look at what bugs are currently out in the live environment and what we can do. But as Scott said, it is kind of dependent on if it is a server fix and we can get it out sooner. If it's a client fix, we got to wait for our next release window.
Yeah.
So we try to act on these as fast as we can, but there are definitely limitations that prevent our speed in some cases. But if there is a bug that you guys are seeing, please bring it up in social channels. Please bring it up to CS by writing tickets. That's how we get them, and that's how we figure out how to fix them, is your guys' reports help a ton.
Yeah, and also with respect to bugs, we love adding new features to this game. It's always like something really enjoyable, a new problem to solve. The thing that we have to keep in mind all the time is every time we add a new feature to the game, that feature has to work with each and every other feature that's already in the game. And so as the game grows, you know, the time that QA has to take to test each feature, they also have to test how well is it working with University, how well is it working with Expeditions, how well is it working with Traveling Merchant. And that list just continues to grow with every new feature we add to the game.
There's a lot of variables, and I think that's one of the things when I was here talking to you guys and a new museum was coming out, that was one of the fears, is just like there's so many different variables with the artifacts, and you guys will be kind of discovering them as you go. I saw a question pop up in the chat that just talk us through the museum and what it can do. So sort of on the surface level, I saw some new people tune in a little while ago. If you're just kind of explaining museum to a layman and they haven't perhaps built it yet, or they're not ready to build it yet, so what does it do? Just to like, if you were describing this to your great grandmother, like how would you describe the purpose of this building of this building?
So the purpose of it is to kind of showcase all of the historical artifacts that you find throughout the game, and by showcasing them, you're buffing your base and troops, and also your economy. And then it also added in this newer sort of, I guess, debuff, where you will actually debuff enemy generals or troops that are attacking your base. We haven't done anything like that in Dominations before, and so far from what I've seen, the players are pretty intrigued by that stat. I'd like to see what they come up with and what they can do strategy-wise.
That's the most interesting thing to me, is going to be watching what players combo and what they come up with.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be crazy and so interesting to watch, because it's just such a new mechanic, you know.
Absolutely.
And it's gonna lead to such variety and such creativity, which is one of my favorite things working in community, is seeing base layouts and seeing strategies that people use, and now seeing like behind the surface what they're doing in the museum is going to be so interesting. So that's very good. If you're, I think my mother would understand that.
There's also like a self-expression element in there that I think is super cool, because there's so many different buffs. Like I know that like my personal playstyle, I'm going to be doing a lot of resource gain and resource looted ones, because that's usually what I spend my time doing, and where I find my biggest, like, I need more of this as all my resources. But you know, some people will choose to spend those slots on attacking buffs, and they want to get more damage because they want to perform better in their 5-star attacks. And like, there's such a variety of the different modifiers that you can get, that there's like, everybody's museum is going to be a little bit different, and which artifacts you choose to display and upgrade is going to be like a huge sign of what you care about as a player. And I think that's super cool that like feature doesn't exist, you know?
Yeah. And I think the number of ways you have to improve upon what you have in your museum, or just improving the museum itself, is pretty huge. I think one of the best decisions we made in terms of, you know, from the original design to what we released, was it used to be when you leveled up your artifact, you leveled up all the modifiers at once.
Yeah.
And that also made increasing the artifact level very expensive. We switched it to, you can choose which modifier you want to invest in, and you can, you know, if you think one modifier is better than another, you can, you know, just push and grow that one to level 10 before you do any of the others. And that gives you a whole range of opportunities, like how you want to, you know, what your strategy is for where you think your resources are best spent. And I think that opens up a whole realm of possibilities.
The amount of variety, and I think you guys are going to see some very interesting statistics start to float in, and you'll see people utilizing this in a lot of different ways, which I think is going to be really exciting.
We've got a lot of tracking to kind of see which modifiers the players are like they find useful, which ones they're not. So
Thanks for the follow, Stry.
Yes,
Thank you.
I've been writing down followers when we have a break in the conversation. Really quickly, Stry, thank you. Nihome1515, thank you. Gobbledygook GBK, thank you. Trickster, thank you. And I think I may have missed one. It looks like Constantine. I'm sorry, I wrote down too quickly, but thank you for the follow. I should probably have it popping up that has a list, but I'll do that next time. So yeah, thank you all for follow very much.
Something we want to show just from this battle right here. Now that you have the museum unlocked, you're going to start earning these mysterious fragments as part of your victory conditions. If you get 2 stars above, is that correct?
Yes. So basically, you'll always earn mysterious fragments if you earn some stars. Depending on the quantity of fragments earned depends on if you're attacking an age above or below you, or your same age, and then also how many stars you get in from the battle.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort into that this release. Trying to really reward players for going after harder targets. You'll get quite a bit more now if you challenge yourself to really go after.
Yeah, and that's something that did change during the design. Like the initial idea that I came up with and pitched to the team has varied drastically. It's changed quite a bit over the development. And one of those was you didn't always get mysterious fragments from battle. And then when we started implementing that and playing with it in the game, it just didn't feel right. There was no way, like if you really invested in a battle and did really well, and you didn't get any mysterious fragments, you just kind of felt bad. So that was one of the changes that we made, so you always get them just for doing the battle and succeeding. If you don't get any stars, you're going to have to work harder, though.
Right, it makes sense, right? If you blow up a building, you're bound to find stuff.
There you go.
There's pieces. There's fragments of something.
There's going to be fragments.
Just glue them together. You actually have to make the fragments.
Yeah.
I think I saw a question float by, and this is actually one I had prepared as well. But how does one go about getting a legendary?
So the legendaries are something that they can't be crafted in the game. They're only going to be found through events that we plan on running in the game in special like scenarios. Marco Polo, they might show up in there. They'll also show up in packages that you currently see live. Make sure to check out the museum sale that's going on. And yeah, so it'll be infrequent. They'll show up infrequently, but we hope that all of our active players can eventually get a couple legendaries.
Yeah. This kind of ties into a question I was going to answer a while back, and it's not on the screen anymore. It's long gone. But somebody asked, like, could we get our historians in here to talk about how we pick up on the history of the game? And honestly, you're looking at them. Like, we don't keep any historians on staff, but everybody on the team is their own historian in their own right.
Yeah.
I know particularly the design team spends a ton of time doing all of their research that they can to make sure that, like, that text that Greg is showing up on the screen, like, all of that is accurate and also tells you something really cool about the game or something really cool about history in a way that just is super cool and really fun.
Yeah, I mean, history has been Big Huge Games' wheelhouse for a long time, and so, we attract developers who are into that, that sort of stuff, following along and researching and learning about all that stuff. So, we have a great stable of talent here who really dig in on that stuff and put it into the game.
Hey, Greg, go back to the watch to show the.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey Archer, I just boosted the levels just a little bit, so hopefully you'll be able to hear us better.
And so this right here was an example of an artifact that I didn't know about until I started this project and working on it. It's the world's oldest watch. I think it's from 1505, and it's just an interesting artifact that definitely wouldn't have discovered without it. And I kind of hope that when people see things like this and like, what is that? They click the little question mark and they get a nice historical blurb that lets them know about it.
I think my
Very
one
nice.
contribution to the museum artifacts stuff is we had a sword and we couldn't think of a good way to flavor it, and so I remembered there's this one pirate. There's this pirate queen in history. I think Qingxue from China. And she's amazing and super cool, and there's a couple like extra credits episodes or extra history episodes about her if you want to go learn about her. But she's super cool and one of my favorite characters from history, so I was like, we should make a sword for her, and lo and behold, that sword is now in the game.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We just had a big influx of folks drop in. So first of all, thank you. If you've never heard of the game before, the game is, of course, DomiNations. It's available now for iOS and Android. I'm going to plop up a link where folks can get it, and of course plop up our social channels quickly, and then we'll keep talking more. But if you want to actually download the game and you're interested in checking it out, and if you're a fan of history and a fan of strategy, go ahead and give it a download. This will pop up a link that you can, of course, download it on your device right now.
Somebody asked about, is two-star artifacts the highest you can craft, and you can. Right now, that's the most you'll get just off the initial craft from the server.
Yeah, you can only craft 1 or 2-star artifacts.
Legendaries start at 5, though, don't they?
Yes, that's one of the differences with legendaries is that if you do get a legendary, it'll have 5 stars right away. All of the benefits will be unlocked and ready to go. So that's one of the reasons to make them legendary.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's a question about Marco Polo and troop chests, and my answer is going to be check back very soon. TM.
Soon TM.
Yeah.
That is something we hear about a lot, and so we're definitely listening to you guys and paying attention. So that is not, again, falling on deaf ears.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I can never pronounce it, but the Antikythera mechanism. That is such a cool piece of history. Is that how you say it?
Computer?
Yeah, the ancient computer that they found like at the bottom of the ocean. So fantastic.
Wow.
I don't know if that is in the game, but it should be. Very cool.
The answer is definitely maybe.
Definitely maybe.
It's on a list somewhere. I know that for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Why? Since we have a bunch of new folks here. First of all, thank you, bunch of new folks. I have a couple shout outs. Ron, thank you for the follow, and Fury Tomo, thank you for the follow, and Macy J, thank you for the follow. Let's go ahead and do a couple battles quick.
Sure, absolutely.
Since we just had a bunch of people join us. Furry Lindo, thank you for the follow as well.
And for Ron, this is live now. All this content in the game is live.
Yeah, all this is live now. It went live, I want to see, Tuesday of this week?
Yep.
Tuesday of this week, and download it and check it out now.
Do you want to talk about the expedition changes?
No.
There are some things that we're not ready to talk about.
So I was joking. One of the things about Museum is it requires a lot of materials and resources that are scattered throughout the game, but they're scattered in a way that you should be able to find them by playing normally. So if you go battles, you'll find some mysterious fragments that'll let you craft artifacts. If you use expeditions or look at your victory chest, then you'll find some of these resources from the museum. One of the expedition changes that I've seen a lot of people kind of mention is removing one of the rewards in favor of some of these new museum currencies. That's something that I've been watching the feedback from the community, so it's on my list now. Maybe we'll go back in and update the window so that we can have the space for 3 rewards and bring those old rewards back.
Yep. Also, we are currently aware of a bug where if you're looking at your old expedition stuff, or you sent one out before the update, when it comes back, it won't give you what the museum looks like, the museum rewards. If you start an expedition on the old release and then get it on the new release, you still get your old rewards. You also have to wait for all of your expeditions to flush through and get new ones in order to actually get those museum rewards. So if you're getting the wrong stuff, just wait a day or two, and then you'll be getting the correct rewards from that. We are aware of that. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it without a big re-architect, so we opted not to. But we're also hoping that expeditions will get a lot more love from players from this. We're keeping a really close eye on the numbers and seeing if this does make people more engaged with expeditions, and if they're not, maybe we'll go back and retune them like Travis was saying.
Yeah.
There's a question here from the chat. It says, can national perks like training time or range potentially be gained from crafting? Is that a plan for the future or not? So specifically asking for perks from different artifacts.
I think they're talking about the nation perks,
the national perks. Okay.
It's like British nation. They have extra range on their archers and stuff.
Yeah, the nation
Greek.
Well, the Greek ones affect the museum, but we don't plan on adding in the nation-specific perks to artifacts, so those will remain specific to your nation. They're not something that you can craft.
Okay. With some of the challenges you face from bugs and testing, do you have any plans to open a sandbox or beta to the community, more testers to provide pre-release feedback? I volunteered.
Yeah. If you're thinking about it,
I'll sign an NDA. The person says. I think again, like we touched on earlier, that's a bandwidth thing that would require you would need someone leading an external QA team, and that's always challenging whenever you do those sort of beta projects. I don't think I'm not going to speak for the team, but I would assume that was just something that would be a challenge.
We have absolutely thought about it.
Yeah.
Some of those decisions are out of our hands.
Yeah.
We don't get to make those calls.
Yeah. Squirrel Armies, thanks for the follow and great name.
Yeah, that's a great name.
And KG says, thank you. That is great news. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. Here's one. The SAR, do artifacts affect build time?
No, not build time.
Not build
not
time.
currently, at least.
Yeah, affecting build time would have required a change in the way that we do our logic.
Although there's stuff in the works.
We're thinking about it.
Never.
We're definitely looking at it, and we've heard that time for build time is definitely something that people are worried about, and we are working on it. we're thinking about a couple of ideas. Nothing yet, but maybe soon.
BM Ovo says, doesn't say anything. Says
following you.
Says I'm following you.
Not
Thank you for the follow, BM Ovo. We appreciate it. And Von Cheb says the Antikythera mechanism, that'd be cool because I could learn more about it. DomiNations history lessons are what's good. Thank you. That's awesome. I love hearing that, and that's one of my favorite aspects of the game too. I love learning stuff, and I learn stuff every time I play. There's all sorts of little hidden tidbits.
Yeah, and if you guys like stumble across an artifact that you didn't know about, or you find one that you really is your favorite, like let us know.
Oh my god,
we want to hear about that.
That would be great.
I'm kind of hoping people like eventually get these 3D printed and like have them on their desks or something.
Really quick, I'm on with the dev team who's not here, and they're trying to talk about some stuff. So our design and live ops team, some of them actually have extra history degrees. Like some of them went to college for either history minors or they have other history things, and some of them are just super passionate about it. So again, we don't have historians on staff, but we have people who have degrees and really care a lot about this stuff, and that's where a lot of our history comes from. It all just comes from passion and hard work.
That's definitely a perfect combo for a game about history, is like loving and knowing about history. So Shauna B845, thank you for the follow, and Worsty12, thank you for the follow. Thank you guys all so much for the follow. This is awesome. We have a huge turnout today. We have Tin Soldier, of course, driving right now, and he's showing off some of the battles in DomiNations. Petronut77, thank you for following. If you are, of course, new to DomiNations, and I see there's a lot of new names here in the chat. The screen is shaking. This is war, folks. No, if you're new to DomiNations, it of course is a building game with a lot of real history built in, which is something that we are very proud of. So if you download the game and you play it, you get to kind of learn a little bit about the history of our world as you progress through the various ages, which is sort of a perk. You get to play video games and actually get educated in the process, which is probably one of the best perks of any game. So, definitely if you have not downloaded it yet, there's a link now in chat to download it and play it on your device. We encourage you to do it. Join our super fun community. We'll, of course, plug our community events right before we get out of here, but we have some fun stuff coming up in the future as well.
And I'm seeing a couple questions about where to find the museum. It's in the upper left-hand corner of your base near the Alliance Gate, so it should be there. It is currently rubble. If you haven't built it up, it's available to build up and to repair in the Gunpowder Age.
Yep.
So there's one level upgrade for each age after that. So go check it out if you're in Gunpowder or above.
To answer Lord Mosby, there are a few Rise of Nation devs here.
Yeah,
still.
More than a few. A lot of people hold over, and from like the Kingdoms of Amalur times and
a lot of KOR. KOR.
Also, Merida, you are absolutely correct, but there are also a lot of really cool female units in the game. I think my top 3 are Shield Maidens. Yes. They're amazing. Lady Death. She's absolutely amazing, and the Spies.
Yes.
Witches.
They're more planes than anything.
Phone call.
No, at least as far as like getting female troops on the ground, that's something like we have a really diverse group of people. I mean, like I was here, Kate was here. We actually have one of the fun stories I like to tell is like this is my second studio in the industry, and I've actually had to wait for the bathroom here. Never had to wait for the girls' bathroom at any other studio except for here. So we have a lot of girls who are working on the game, and we are trying to be as diverse as we possibly can in terms of where we choose to put our time and effort. And I think it shows.
Yeah,
I
it
think
definitely does.
Like Lady Death and all that.
Absolutely.
It's great to see the community appreciate that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are some of my favorite units as well. I love the addition of Lady Death, and I just think it's absolutely fantastic. Uh-oh. Come on in. Wish we had an extra seat.
I only have like 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, come introduce yourself for 30 seconds and say hi to everyone because people.
Hey, stream. I'm Josh Kermon, executive producer on DomiNations.
So say hi to Josh. Does a lot of work on the game.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Yeah, he does lots of stuff. What's your day-to-day like? How many meetings do you have?
All of them.
All meetings all the time.
Josh keeps us together, though. We'd be in a bad way without him.
All the problems are mine.
Yeah.
All the bugs.
HDO2 Fat Boy. HDO2 Fat Boy.
I'll pass that buck in a second.
Thank you for the follow, sir.
Well, thanks for playing DomiNations, watching the stream. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. So we are going to start winding things up here. We're going to probably do one more quick base attack before we get out of here, and then I'll, of course, tell you guys where you can keep in touch with us and follow us and we'll do a plug of some community events that we have going up.
Someone's asked a few times about the maximum number of fragments. It's one less than 1 million, right?
Yeah, it's one less than 1 million.
Yeah,
You shouldn't be anywhere close to that anytime soon. We wanted to make sure you guys had a lot of room for fragments.
Yeah, that's why there's not really like a surface like cap anywhere on the UI. It's because it's so ridiculously hard to hit that.
Yeah.
That's someone's gonna get there.
Gotta catch them all.
Someone's gonna get there.
Catch all the friends.
HD02 Fat Boy says this game is so addictive. It's interfering with my wife's honey-do list. Yes, I haven't heard honey-do list in a long time.
So is working on it.
Yeah. So it's the Cold War space ? I don't think we can talk about that quite yet, but you know.
Space. Ooh, that is.
Yeah, space.
Plenty of space. We just added more space to build things.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Yeah.
We mentioned this on the last stream, but I'm going to mention it here too. Like, we say Cold Age. We say Stone Age to Space Age, but it's going to go beyond that. Space Age is not where we're going to stop, probably, but Space Age is coming next, but not for quite a while.
Major Duche says, thanks for the stream, guys. Keep up the good work. Thank you for the compliment. We appreciate it. And it's Nitrex. Thank you for answering. Well, thank you for posing the question, sir. We appreciate that. So before we wind things up and kind of show off the game, I'll just one quick plug because we do have a lot of new people in here. DomiNations is just a fantastic experience. We just celebrated our 3-year anniversary. We're actually going to close out with our anniversary video again. So the game's been around a long time, and it really celebrates and honors history. As a historian myself, it's amazing to see so much real history inside a video game that you can play and learn at the same time. We have an awesome community that are all doing things while Tin Soldier's playing. I'm going to really quickly plug this community event one last time. The Continental World Cup, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys how you can sign up. There's all sorts of information about it here on the site, but if you go to this link that I'm putting now in the chat, you can sign up and become part of this amazing experience that's being put together by the community and, of course, supported by us at Nexon and Big Huge Games. So check that out. Support these guys. They're doing some great stuff. Sign up, become part of a team, and reap the rewards. And hold on, let me go back to here. And Game Player Hun is now following. Thank you for the follow. Definitely follow us here on our Twitch Nexon Mobile. We're gonna be doing lots of stuff over the summer. Can't really say what just yet, but there's a lot of stuff planned and a lot of stuff coming up. Yeah. Good stuff that I think you guys are gonna like. Maybe. And a lot of things that have. I'll say this. I'll risk getting in trouble, but a lot of things that players have been requesting a lot are going to be addressed right around the corner, and we'll be, of course, talking about them on future streams. If you want to come hang out and become part of our community, this is actually a great question. Can we visit another player's museum?
No, you can't visit another player's museum right now.
You ever thought about VR support for like museum tours? I'm just totally BSing.
No, we're thinking about stuff like that in the future if it becomes something that would be interesting, but we also are working on some stuff to kind of surface bonuses across the game to players. Still some early conversations about that, but we're thinking about it.
VR support should be in by 2030.
There you go, 2030.
They're going to hold you to that. That's dangerous. You promised
working right
not me.
I'll be up late.
There you go. Gail who says, I love watching the streams. Please keep them coming. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Can we expect answers to questions not addressed on the stream? Yes. You're always feel free to ask them on social media if they're not addressed. I'll splash the channels up here in a second, but we really do try and get to as many questions as we can. If you see us kind of like skirting around a question or maybe avoiding a question, it's because there's reasons as to why we can't answer them. And the short answer as to why we cannot answer them is because maybe there's something in the works that has to be revealed at a specific time, and if we were to reveal it to you on a live stream or on social media, we would be breaking the date, and that's not something we ever want to do. So
and a lot of it is we just don't know yet.
Right.
Like a lot of times we put a date on paper and we think, okay, this is when it's going to come out, and then if things happen and it's just not at a place where we're ready for it, then we're going to push it back. Like Museum happened that way. We inclined for it to go out a little bit earlier, but we as a team sat down, we're like, no, we can make this better if we had a little bit more time. So we would rather do it right once than push it out when it's too soon and get it in players' hands when it's not in a good state.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I also want to take like a quick second to give a huge shout out to the dev team here. I know a lot of you guys are watching. You guys hit it out of the park with Museum, and all the people who didn't work on Museum, you guys are still hitting it out of the park every single day. Great job. We all love working with all of you. So huge thanks to that. And of course, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing without you guys, the players. Like that is, you guys are our lifeblood. You are our drives every single day. So thank you for supporting us and playing Dominations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm going to switch over to this very quickly just to plug our social channels really quickly. Actually, that's okay. I'm going to go back, actually. I'll put them here over this giant war that's going on. Just look past the war that's going on in their social channels. But I do want to quickly plug these. They've been going through our Twitch chat as well, and you can click them on Twitch as well. But we have an awesome community that are all doing some great things, producing content on YouTube, and of course interacting with each other on our social channels. Tin Soldier and myself do read everything. And we reply to as much of it as we can. So, hop on there, become part of our community. We would love to have you. And, we want to see you in the future on these live streams pop by. We're seeing a lot of familiar names. It is super great. And of course, information that you give us on our social channels, we of course relay back to the development team and, help make the game that you hopefully love even better. So, you are part of the process, believe it or not. So thank you guys.
Is this is live streaming out? Is that something that you guys have any plans to do more of in the future?
Always.
Yeah, I mean, no, I love doing it. And if we see that people like them a lot, we'll do more and more of them. Okay. So if it's something that it has to be done on the reg, then we can do it more regularly. But we very much enjoy doing them and having a good time. So they're fantastic, and we thank you guys very much for tuning in. If you have any closing questions, we're about to get out of here. Our time is almost up. Lord Mosby says, thanks for engaging the community today as much as you did. It's appreciated. Back to work for me. Thanks for tuning in, Lord Mosby. We appreciate it.
As far as Von Chubb's question about Kindle Fire, I mean, it's not one of our supported devices, but as far as I know, you can sideload it. I'm a server guy, so I'm not the best person to answer about client stuff, but I can't imagine it wouldn't work.
I don't know.
I mean,
I know it's not on the Amazon.
We don't officially support you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's cool to finally see you. Yeah, honestly, before we close out, I want to gush for a second. It is very, very cool for a development team to be as open to doing streams as this one is, because a lot of times it can be a scary thing to get in front of your community and talk about a game that's currently in development, because you don't work under you work in an enclosed space and don't necessarily engage with the community on a regular basis. So to come out here and kind of put yourself in front of them is super cool, and I know everyone appreciates it. So Von Chubbs, you're absolutely right. I think it's cool that they come and show their faces as well. So we're going to close things out with a quick video that was shot for the game's 3-year anniversary, which was just a little while ago. So we'll end with that, and also end with some more of your player bases. So thank you guys for tuning into this stream. I have a plane to catch in a few minutes, so I will be getting out of here, and I will see you guys on our social channels. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Domination Nation, happy anniversary!
Woohoo! Dominations anniversary.
This is awesome. Domination is the best game.
Happy birthday, Dominations. Longue vie à Domination.
I love it, developers. Keep up the good work.
We really pour our hearts and our souls into this game.
I'm blown away by the fan base.
We're delighted that so many players seem to think it's still fresh and exciting for them to play.
We tried to add a lot of interesting decisions that felt meaningful and reinforced the notion that you are an emperor.
There's a ton of things that people can do.
You can take your civilization through time.
One of my favorite moments when you beat somebody that's 5 or 6 times higher than your level.
Units are very fun to use.
Siempre hay una razón para seguir jugando y poder seguir evolucionando.
My favorite troops are elephant archers by far.
This game has lots of fun to turn you on to things you may not have thought much about as far as history is concerned.
Dominations is the most complete history game that you can get on your phone.
They give us a lot of interesting facts regarding how the weapons were used.
This game is great. I've never had so much fun learning about history.
I'm
I'm definitely looking forward to how we integrate our current times into our game.
To me, the most fun has been telling the rest of the story.
We've always said Dominations is about going from the Stone Age to the Space Age.
That's not going to be the end. We're going to explore so much more beyond that.
I'm really excited to see what comes out of the team, and I'm excited to play it.
So here's to 3 more years, and cheers to DomiNations.
Thank you so much to every single person who was involved in making this amazing game.